my channel. Thank you so much for being here, and if you're new here, hello. My name is Ashley. I run things here at Oh Crow Gal, and this is Cernan. This is my husband Cernan. He's been in like a handful of videos. We did do a Q&A, I think it was like last summer.
Like August or September.
I think it was like last summer, and then I mean, you know, my What I Eat in a Days are kind of like vlogs, so he's like in there every now and then. But quarantine times have called for me kind of thinking of like different video ideas and different things I can do to stay creative when it comes to my content. So I thought a Q&A would be a really good idea. Now I did say this was gonna be like a Cernan and Ashley Q&A, but I didn't specifically say couples Q&A. So there are a few questions on here that are like solely directed towards me or solely directed towards Cernan, just kind of PSA. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump into it. These questions really cover like the gamut of topic. There's just gonna be a large variety of things that we are gonna cover today. So grab your tea, grab your wine, and let's just go ahead and jump into it. Okay, the first question is, do you miss work/teaching? So this is directed towards me. If you're new around here, or maybe you were unaware, I did have a teaching job. I think I worked there for a little, it was a little over a year, where I taught English to kids in China, and I quit that last September. And I do miss it. I miss exercising like that part of my brain, which is actually why I like applied for that job in the first place, was because I have like an education background. I used to work at an elementary school. I used to be a like private tutor, and that's the whole reason I got that job. So I'm kind of, it's similar that I'm kind of in that same position now, where I do miss exercising that part of my my brain and just like my knowledge. But that being said, the hours were super funky, and it was okay for a little bit, and then it just kind of burned me out. So it's kind of like this. I definitely would not rule out like doing it again in the future, but right now I'm like happy with. Yeah,
getting up at 4 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning in some cases.
Exhausting. And then dealing with a toddler all day was really tiring. But I loved the job. Like if the hours were better, then maybe I would have second guessed that decision, but waking up at 4 a.m. is just like not, well, like 3:30 a.m. is like not my jam. Okay, so the next person asks, any plans to have more kiddos? If so, how many more?
Yeah, so we actually chatted about this, I think 2 months ago, where, well, when we first, got married, even before then, we talked about, okay, I think 2 is a good number, and that seems like, you want to say the right number for us.
The nuclear family number, right? And like that's what we kind of like agreed on.
Yeah, but
pre having a child.
about 2 months ago, we finally had the discussion about a second one, because we family, they would ask us about it, and we never actually. And
we initially even said like, oh, once Daisy is this age, we're gonna start trying for the next one. Okay, let's push it once she's this age. Yeah. And so 2 months ago, we finally sat down and had like a legit conversation. And
I think we came to the conclusion that while we're not gonna rule out a second one, it seems like our family is complete at the current time. So, I mean, as of now, that we're not closing the door on a second one, but it seems like, we're good for now.
Yeah, like neither of us have the, our family is not, there's a piece missing, or like, we're unhappy because we only have one child. So basically we're like never say never, but like we good. Yeah. we're good for now. The same person asked, do you and Cernan have the same parenting style, or are you both on the same page? So I think that we do have the same parenting style. Just when you look at like the bare bones of things, like neither of us are, very rarely are either of us kind of saying to each other, why'd you do that? Right. like why did you handle this situation that that way. So I think we're super similar. I definitely think I am more of the disciplinarian, but I just think that that's like naturally occurring because I'm with her more. Right. Would you agree with that? Or
you have more of an opportunity to discipline her than I do because you spend so much more time.
Exactly. So, right. Did you two play any sports in high school / college? How about now? No. Well, I'll speak for myself and then Serena can have a turn. No, I did not. I have said this like many a time on my channel. I hate any kind of physical activity. I played tennis for a few years in between like elementary and middle school. I was also on a bowling league. My parents kind of gave me an ultimatum, like you have to pick a sport. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna pick bowling because I literally, like, you don't have to do anything. So that's kind of where I come from when it comes to like physical activity. And no, I don't do any now either.
Me, myself, I was in JROTC in high school and I was part of the drill team, the team that, you know, spun the rifles and performed. In college, I didn't play sports, but I was on a hip hop dance team. So that's a sport. That's active.
It's a physical activity.
Yeah, and now I play flag football with my family.
Which is, I feel like, a really good outlet for you.
Yeah. It
like checks that box kind of like, I mean, he gets to spend time with his family, but then he also gets to kind of like get his yayas out, and it's like competitive. You know, it's not like going to the gym. It's like competitive and like.
It's an actual league where we compete. And
there's like playoffs and stuff. It's really cool. All right, biggest pet peeve regarding one another. I will say before we jump into this question, like I mentioned, we did do a Q&A last year, and I will link it in the cards. Some of these questions are most likely repeats. That video was a while ago. I have like triple the subscribers now that I did then. So I didn't like, I guess, scan the last video and then be like, oh, this is a question that was already asked. So there's gonna be repeats probably in both videos, but I just feel like there's a lot of new people here now. So why not just kind of like answer everything? Okay, pet peeve. So I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but my biggest pet peeve used to be, he used to be really bad at like picking his face. Well, specifically picking hairs out of his face. It's very specific. It's just like gross and disgusting, and I didn't like it, and it was just that. Now it's more like, for lack of better phrasing, like half-assing like different things. So making your lunch and like leaving the stuff that you prepped with it out, or like making coffee and you put away everything but like the half and half's on the counter. Like for him, he's not like a slob. Like I'm not saying that he
Yeah, also the half and half example is a bad example because I always put the half and half away and you don't. That is true.
That is such a lie. I was just about to give you a compliment about how you're not a slob. Maybe I should retract that. I don't mean like he leaves everything everywhere. What I mean is like he leaves like one, like it's not finished. Like he leaves like one thing, or like the vacuuming. Like he asked if he could help with any chores, and I said, yeah, like can you vacuum the stairs, like the stairs that we have? So he like, you know, did the tile at the bottom of the stairs and vacuumed everything like stair by stair, and then like didn't put the vacuum away. Like it's like that type of thing. This is a very long-winded answer, but it's my biggest pet peeve and I can't help it. So
for me, this is a repeat of the last time we recorded this, and one of my pet peeves is, I guess, what it was. Her inability to be spontaneous with plans.
Lack of spontaneity, totally. So I'm a Virgo.
If I can just say, oh, let's go to dinner, you know, tonight at lunchtime, or you need to plan things. Okay, but I feel like I am wholeheartedly agreeing with you. I just feel like that's a bad example, because if at lunch you were like, let's go to dinner tonight, I would be like, hell yeah, let's go to dinner. It's more like in the morning when it's like, let's go to breakfast, that I'm like, oh no. Or like, well, let's drive to the mall that's like 2 hours away to like do a little bit of shopping. And that's fun, and I like doing that, but I like when it's planned. Like I like when it's like 2 days earlier, we're like, well, this is what we're doing on Saturday. No, that's, and I understand why that would be a pet peeve, but I used to
think of that as more of like a problem with me. And now I just more accept it as like, that's just how I am. Like, I'm just a planner. I like to have things planned out. And I think I, over the years, have become more spontaneous, but I'm nowhere near like his level of spontaneity of like, hey, let's go to Jamaica tomorrow, or like whatever, you know? All right, how did you two meet? So this one has definitely been asked before, but if you need a reminder. So we had kind of like a mutual friend that introduced us, and Cernan and her worked at the same place at the movie theater together. And I was best friends with her, and she ended up introducing us, and that's how we like met. Like the first time we ever met was like via that connection. And then I ended up getting a job at the movie theater. So we were all kind of like best buds at the movie theater together. Like, it was just a real like family atmosphere. We all like, we would go to Six Flags together, go to Disneyland together, like do bowling nights, go to dinner. Like, we all just hung out like as a family. We were all really tight. So that's kind of like how our relationship grew. But in terms of like meeting, if you needed like a short answer, it was like via an introduction. Yeah,
and we didn't actually get together until after I left the movie theater.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, we were friends for about 1.5 years before we actually started dating. What steps are you taking in preparing to move back to Seattle? You could have that one.
I don't think we're taking any current steps to move back to Seattle. That is still up in the air. There are a lot of potential plans, future plans. One of them may include moving back to Seattle. One of them may include part-time living up in Seattle, but there are just a lot of balls in the air right now.
Yeah, I feel like the last time I mentioned that, I feel like it might have been in my like, I did like a 30 things to get to know about me, or I don't know, something. In some video, I mentioned that we have this like 2 to 4 year plan of moving back to Seattle, because we did. For the longest time, we did. We left there, and we both felt like we wanted to be back, and it didn't really seal the deal until we visited in September, and we said to ourselves, like, we miss this place. Like, this is where we belong. But a lot of other things have come up since then, since having this like 2 to 4 year plan idea. So now we don't know. I don't want to get into too much detail about it, but it's probable that we might stay here and just like kind of do like summer in Seattle, go to Seattle for the summers. I don't know. We're not sure yet. So currently we're not taking any steps. I think once all of this, the current situation in the world simmers down a little bit, then we will really sit down and have a serious conversation of like, what the hell are we doing? Where will we be living? But for now, no steps are being taken. All right, on to kind of like a lighter question. What's your favorite movie theater snacks? She says mine are popcorn with peanut M&Ms and red vines. So I'm gonna go with like non-keto. So I would say like popcorn, Reese's Pieces. I also really like red vines. I already know what your answer is gonna be, but go ahead.
Sour Patch Kids.
Q&A is not for me, so.
It's
anything sour.
Anything sour, but primarily Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, and we don't go to movies too often now, but when we've gone and been on keto, we usually take Smart Sweets. I mean, all the time take Smart Sweets. Like, stop by GNC before we go and like pick stuff up. Oh. Does Cernan get excited about groceries like you?
I would say no. The only time I actually get excited is when she tells me she spends a lot less than she planned. Mm-hmm. But every time I come home, like, he's like, how much was it? The actual food and like, I don't get as excited.
Yeah. What are your favorite comfort foods, non-keto or keto?
I would say for me, keto, she makes these keto biscuits and gravy.
Oh my God.
Which are really good.
So, I mean, and like the definition of comfort food, whether we're talking keto or not keto, like biscuits and gravy is just, oh my God.
And then pasta. So pasta for me is like a good non-keto.
Cernan is like a pasta guy. Like anytime that, you know, we have our like one scheduled off-plan meal a week, and when we go out to eat, like usually he's ordering a burger or he's ordering pasta. For me, I would agree. I just feel like on keto, if I'm thinking like keto comfort food, gravy is just like where it's at. Like the sausage, the creamy gravy, the bread, or, you know, biscuits. I mean, they are legit biscuits, they're just keto. So I'd have to agree, that's such a good answer. And then non-keto for me, I mean, I like pasta too. I'm trying to think. For me, like Mexican food is comfort food. I love like and nachos, enchiladas, carne asada fries. Like that's what I get when we go to our local taco shop. It's so good, but it's so terrible. That is my like non-keto comfort food from here till the end of time. What's the meaning behind your channel name? I always say when people ask me this, I wish I had a cooler story, but Crow is my maiden name. And before I started my YouTube channel, all of my social media was Crow Gal, like my Twitter, my Instagram, everything. And I wanted my YouTube name to incorporate that because I didn't want to start new socials. Like I just wanted to like streamline it. But Crow Gal on YouTube was already taken. So I just like racked my brain and started to help me kind of brainstorm like what would make sense. Like, oh, Crow Gal doesn't, having the O there doesn't mean anything. It pretty much is just to like, set me apart from the person that chose Crow Gal, but I also really like it. Like, I feel like it just fits my personality and I love the name of my channel. So this person said, I live in the Northwest and love it here. What were your favorite things about living in Seattle?
For me, it was a couple things. The gray, I love overcast weather. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the sun, but I just really love when it's overcast because it's stay-at-home weather and I'm pretty much always at home. Yeah. And I think where we lived, it was so walkable. Stores, movies, coffee shop, you know, you can get there within a 5 to 10 minute walk. And that's what I loved about where we lived.
Yeah, and I completely second that. I love the overcast. I also think too, living there, coming from a place like San Diego and then living in Seattle, it really teaches you to not take the sun for granted. Like both of us growing up, being born and raised in San Diego, like sun is all we know. It's always, you know, between 70 and 75 and sunny. And when you move somewhere where like there are, you know, days where it's like 30 degrees and days where you don't see the sun at all, it really teaches you to not take it for granted. So I agree, overcast days. And I think, yeah, everything being walkable is like the perfect answer. All right, what's your favorite thing about each other? So for me, well, I'm gonna say two things. The first is that Cernan is so go with the flow, and I like it for a couple of reasons. Because one, it balances me, because like we mentioned, like I'm not very spontaneous. I am a planner by nature. I'm super type A. And so I feel like for us, it really balances us out because he's so like casual. He doesn't care what he's eating for dinner. He doesn't care if he has to like run to the store for me. He doesn't care if plans happen to change. He's very flexible, and I appreciate that about him even more so now that we are a family unit, not just like him and I. And then the other thing I really just is my favorite thing is that he's a family guy. Like, he would do anything for me, anything for Daisy, and it shows. So those are my favorite things. This is getting sappy. My turn. What are your favorite things about me?
Well, for sure, the fact that Ashley's very supportive when making major life decisions. For example, I think we talked about in the last video, you know, I switched careers 10 years into my previous career, which is scary, right? Changing your career, switching, and
spending money on more school.
Yeah, so all of that, she was very supportive. You know, she could have said, you know what, you've already invested 10 years in this thing, why not just keep going, right? But she could see that I wasn't happy and that I did need a change and a shift. And her being very supportive, that's what I really loved. Also, the fact that Ashley is just as much of a family person as I am. She's very good with Daisy. She knows how to be both loving and stern at the same time. You know, and it shows. Yeah, those are my just two of my many favorite
basking
things
in the compliments. Oh, that was very sweet. From that to, what's your favorite keto sweet treat?
Smart Sweets.
Yeah. Sternen's all about
the peach rings.
Only the peach rings.
Yeah.
Like we pretty much go to GNC like exclusively for that. Like y'all know I like the Alani Nu energy drinks, and sometimes I'll pick up like bars or something, but especially when they have the buy 5 get 1 free, we're always getting 5 peach rings and then a free peach rings. Like those are his jam. I really like those too. And I definitely think out of all of the Smart Sweets that they make, those are the best ones, like flavor-wise, texture-wise, everything. But if I had to pick like one favorite sweet treat, I would probably say the Rebel ice cream. All right, if a movie were made about your life, who would play you? So I don't know if we're going based off of like, I don't know if this question is intending it to be who looks like you. I don't know who looks like me. I've gotten so many people. I have had people tell me I look like a various number of celebrities, and I don't believe them. I've gotten Katherine Heigl, Mandy Moore, which I did not see at all. The one that I've gotten more than one time was Julia Stiles. So I don't know. Those are things that people have told me. If we're going by like, I love this actress and I want them to play me, I am obsessed with Blake Lively. Not even really for her like acting skills, just for her fashion sense, and she's married to Ryan Reynolds, and I just love her sense of humor, and I'm like a Jennifer Lawrence fan until I die. So that's kind of, I don't know, I guess I'm approaching that from like two angles, but
yeah, for me,
what Filipino?
Yeah, Dante Bosco is the only one I can think of.
Dante Bosco from Hook.
In a in a certain angle of light, maybe Kumail. Like,
I could see that. I could kind of see that.
But yeah, I'm very limited with the actors that can play me.
If we're going based off of skin color.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last question. Who are your favorite music artists?
For me, I don't listen to a lot of music. I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I'm just gonna answer it from that standpoint. I listen to a lot of sports podcasts. I started listening to a lot of true crime. Serial is kind of what got me into podcasts in general, but right now it's a lot of sports, fantasy football, a lot of coding and web development podcasts, but not a lot of music lately.
For me, I'm a music junkie. I love music. One of the hardest parts about raising a toddler is that you have to listen to Peppa Pig and Disney Junior and Moana on repeat constantly all the time. Because I love my music, I love my bands, I love my people. I have mentioned this, I know before, I'm obsessed with John Mayer. I've seen him 7 or 8 times in concert. We have a poster of his in our home. Like, I love him so much. So he's a favorite. I love Taylor Swift. Like, love her. I am a huge Beyonce fan. And then I like my bands too. I love Lainey. They're my favorite band. We saw them last year. I love Chance the Rapper. My like musical taste is pretty
broad.
Yeah, very broad. I'm not a huge country fan. I like pop country. But I think that's also, I mean, music is kind of also what brought us together. Like, way back in the day, we were both huge fans of the same bands, and we would always like listen to the same stuff, trade CDs, like that type of thing. And I like still think today, like even if I'm like, listen to this song or listen to this album, like Sternen's all about it, and I think that's something that like really connects us. All right, y'all, we're done. That was like really, that was a really quick. I mentioned that we tried to film this a couple nights ago, and I was just like, the energy was not there, the vibe was off. I think we were both just so tired, as everyone else is experiencing too, like this new set of circumstances that we're all living in can be really stressful and really exhausting, and we experienced that the other day, but we done did it today. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Drop me a comment down below. Definitely check out our other Q&A. Again, some of the questions will overlap, but there's a lot of other information in that video as well. So check that out, and say goodbye to Stern, and I don't know the next time you'll
Bye guys, see you in 3 months.
Yeah, every 3 months. It's like a quarterly thing. And yeah, I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye, friends.